So the other day I noticed a lot of my apples are missing and they're laying on the ground. So I set up my trail camera. This is a motion activated camera. Some of my large red cherry branches are just wilting. It's only a few branches. The same thing is happening to this sun sugar here too. One or two branches have just become wilted. I'm afraid the whole plant is going to kick the bucket here soon. The leaves and vines of the pole beans have kind of an itchy, grippy texture. So I wear long sleeves and gloves because it'll make my arms itch for a few days if I'm reaching in here for a long period of time. The glove on this hand is to protect it from getting cuts, and this one is to protect from getting a blister right here because there's a lot of chopping. Well, these gloves saved me from cutting my finger right there. I use Ziploc freezer bags, and then I just put them in the freezer. I still have some left over from last year. I've done it like this for a few years, where I just wash them, cut them, and freeze them, and it seems to work fine. No cooking necessary. And the bean vines will start to flower again and produce more beans for multiple harvests. Harvesting the first cucumber. And I use the blade of the scissors to kind of get rid of any ugly parts. Harvesting the first Roma tomatoes. And also the first red ripe cayenne peppers. And then I'll pick a basil leaf. This is an Italian basil. This is one of the things I look forward to most out of the garden. So it's 6 Roma tomatoes. and I add a cayenne pepper. Then I add half a basil leaf into the blender, and then this other half I chop up and I'll sprinkle it on top of the soup. I add just a little bit of water. Add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I sprinkle the basil. I gently heat it up so it's lukewarm. It could still be considered a raw soup. Starting to get some of the cabbage worms. These little worms. Here's a little cluster of their eggs. And I use this stuff, BT Worm and Caterpillar Killer. Get it from Home Depot. Bought this bottle about 4 years ago. Still half full, goes a long way. And I mix 1 teaspoon into this spray bottle. This stuff is organic, safe. It's actually just a bacteria that makes the caterpillars not hungry. I focus mainly on the middle part, try to get some underneath all the leaves. And I'll spray about every 2 weeks. And this is in both the kale and collard beds. Good morning, everybody. It's July 1st. Do a quick garden update. As the summer starts, I pull the plants that have gone, like the peas are done. Most of the lettuce is done. I'm letting these go to seed. I'm hoping to get a little cross-pollination between these two, have like a new variety. I'll be harvesting the beets soon. Down here in the main garden, collards, pole beans, cucumbers, pepperoncinis, kale. The large red cherry tomatoes are still semi-healthy. There's still a little bit of weirdness going on, some brown leaves and branches, but it's yielding tomatoes. That's the most important part. And I'm getting the first peppers that are starting to turn red. And the corn, here's the first ear of corn. And more peppers. The sun sugar cherry tomatoes have pretty much kicked the bucket. One interesting thing is this plant, most of it has died, but there's one branch that's still healthy and green. But I plan to replace these with cuttings that I'm making, and I'll show that later in the video. Here's the front hex bed. The weight of the tomato plants have bent their little cages over. There is some kind of weird wilt on some of the branches. I am getting tomatoes though. I think I overplanted the container where the root systems are competing for water, because later in the day the plants will kind of start wilting. I'll have to water more than usual. Here's the containers. Every year, the Japanese beetles munch on the grapevines. So what I do is I shake it. And you can see them all flying away. Kind of helps a little bit. I'm going to attempt to take a cutting off of my Celeste Fig tree. This branch has a nice green stem. So I trimmed the lower leaves off of it. Stick it in this pot of dirt. I'll put it in the shade. See if it roots. Okay, it's 3 days later. It's wilted, but it's still alive. I put it in this plastic container, and there's water in the bottom. And the pot has holes in the bottom, and it kind of wicks the water up to keep the dirt wet. And I also water it once a day. Here it is 8 days later. It's still alive, but I'm not sure if it's going to make it. It should start to perk up a little bit, but I give it maybe a 20% chance that it's going to survive. You have to stay tuned to the next video to see. I'm going to attempt to take some tomato cuttings. This is large red cherry. And I'll keep them well watered. See if they root. Got it in this plastic tub. There's a little layer of water so it'll wick up, keep the dirt wet. Here are the tomato cuttings 3 days later, and they're all real perky. I'm almost guaranteeing that these are going to root, and I'm going to transplant these to replace the sun sugars that have died. Stay tuned to the next video to see if these succeed.